Price with City Hall Beat. I'm joined by Marty McVey, running for Houston mayor. So, how's it going?
It's going great. It's great. I love to be running for mayor of the city, and we had great support here tonight, and we have great support, bipartisan support across the city. So I'm very excited about running for mayor of Houston.
So as you know, potholes in major cities is pretty cliche. How do you plan to fix other infractions in the city?
Sure. Well, you know, it's as I spoke earlier about in my campaign, potholes and pensions are both important, but those are management issues, and those things can be rectified through good management. We don't stop here. We have to continue on, and that's economic development. The reason why the city can't fix the streets and it can't meet the pension obligations that they've made to the firefighters, the police officers, and to the city employees is because the city just quite frankly doesn't have the money. And that doesn't mean that we go back to the taxpayers and say, let's just raise your taxes. The mayor's job, in my opinion, is to be the chief executive of the city. That means you've got to do everything from marketing to management to efficiencies. You've got to be a lot of things. And it's going to take good economic development to bring to the city where we're bringing in new businesses that don't know the wonder of this city. And, you know, that's how we're going to pay for these things. Houston is ready for a big leap. We're in a good growth pattern over the last few years, and we're ready to take the next leap. And I think I'm the visionary person that's going to be able to do that. Some of my opponents have talked about going backwards, and even in their campaign, it's back to basics. I think we need to go to the future and not backwards.
Are there any oppositions?
There are. At this point, I believe there are 7 other candidates in the race. All I have known, some of them for years. They're good men. There are no women at this time, but they're all good men of what I know them. But I just don't think that the city needs anything less than a person that has business experience and that is a visionary.
As you stated earlier in your speech, you are the only one that represents business. How do you plan on using that towards your advantage?
Certainly. As I say when I speak a lot around the country and even in the city, business is the backstage pass to everything. Everything is tied to economic development. Everything is tied to budgets and good financial management. So I'm going to rely on my experience as a businessman over the last 16 years to utilize that in areas of finance, the city budget, police. We need more police on the streets, but the reason why we don't have those police officers on the streets is because the city doesn't have the ability to pay for them. And again, like I said, it's not that we have to return to the taxpayer and say, we're going to, we need more tax from you. It's the mayor needs to go out and get new businesses to pay for these things. We need at least 1,000 new police officers on the street to keep our city safe.
Can you elaborate on your plans for economic development?
Certainly. It's the Economic Development Office of the city is just a few people. They're good folks, I know them, but they're overworked, they're underutilized, and that's a department that needs to be expanded. So Governor Perry, I spoke with Governor Perry a few months ago. We are going to take a lot out of his playbook for economic development that he did for the state of Texas. He did a good job, and I want to bring a lot of those same good ideas to the city of Houston, and that means recruitment of businesses. Houston has always been where people come here, and we want them to come here. The world has come to Houston. It's now time to take Houston to the world. And I think that I'm the person to do that. So economic development will be the key cornerstone of my administration.
Do you have any plans in regards to police brutality?
Well, certainly. I mean, I do not condone police brutality. I don't know that I would guess that the current mayor doesn't either, but I think that it all comes down to training and experience. We need more training of our police officers in many different areas, sensitivity, but also being able to recognize, dangers and non-dangers. And they get this training, but we can never stop that. Education is very important to me. Policing 20 years ago is not the same as policing today. And my father was a police officer for several years. He worked his way through college as a police officer. So I recognize as a son of a former police officer how dangerous that job is. And we need the police. They are our friends. But we never stop training them. And we can never abandon them by not offering them training, continuing training past the academy. It's got to be consistent to keep up with what our current situation is.
For those who feel they are treated unfairly from the police officers, how do you plan to address that issue and change that for the city?
Again, that's education. And when I have seen, and not only police officers, but in almost any business situation, an employee that makes mistakes are typically not well trained, and that's the manager's fault. And whatever level management that's above them, the manager always takes responsibility for that. And we've got to put more education into police officers and firefighters. There were police officers and firefighters here tonight, and I'm glad that they're here. But they're going to get continuing training. So it's all education, 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 education.
What do you plan to do as far as high school and middle school education for the children?
Well, the mayor of Houston has no jurisdiction, but the mayor has influence. So we can do lots of things that are after-school programs. I believe that we need to have more middle school and high schools that are tailored to jobs that are in the technology sector. I think that Houston's poised to be the new technology center of the United States. We have the opportunity. But opportunity is not something that's by accident. It takes a leader to create that opportunity. So I want to make sure that every student, every person that comes to this city has that same opportunity that I have. And that's one of my jobs as mayor, is to make sure that that opportunity is there, and then it's continued on to the next mayor.
Well, there you have it. Fidel Price, joined by Marty McVey, City Hall Beat.